Ladies and gentlemen, it's Oscar season. Yes, once again, it's that time of year we're gathered together to watch rich, attractive people hand each other tiny figures made out of gold. And I, as your humble servant, am here to guide you through the scary, pretentious world known as Oscar nominations. Movie hobbies are hard and expensive. You don't get to see everything that comes out in a year. And I'm taking upon myself to inform you about the big players this Oscar season. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Simon Williams' guide to the 2014 Best Picture nominees. Aren't you excited? Why are you leaving? Where are you going? Okay. That's fine too. I'm glad some of you stayed. Wow, they're gone. Yeah. Well, thank you for staying. At least you like me. Anyway, on to the nominees. 2013 was a really good year for movies. Now, not really movies that most people want to see, the blockbusters, the comedies, but rather the movies that I like to see. The dramas, the period epics, the art house stuff. And the Oscars really reflect that this year. Yes, there are some painful snubs, but overall the nominees we got are all really dang good, and as apparently one of the only people who makes sure they see all the Best Picture nominees, I'm going to take you through to see what you should be mad at when it loses, and what you should be very, very excited for. And now, in no particular order, Captain Phillips is a true story of an American merchant marine captain who, when his ship is overtaken by Somali pirates, does everything in his power to defend his crew. It stars two-time Oscar winner Tom Hanks in the titular role, and was directed by Paul Greengrass, the man who brought us the Bourne series and United 93. The film is good. Overall, I'd say it's one of the weaker nominees. It's a solid thriller, keeps you watching, it's well acted, well paced, but overall there's not a lot of meat to it. Tom Hanks is great, but overall it's nothing we haven't seen him do before. The real highlight of the film, though, is first-time Somali-American actor Barkad Abdi. He plays the leader of the Somali pirates who overtake the ship, and makes the character intimidating but also utterly fascinating, showing the real cunning and menace behind the character while also making him fundamentally human. It's a great performance and he definitely deserves the Oscar nomination he got for Best Supporting Actor. Overall, not the best movie of the year, but it's a solid flick. Next up, Philomena. Starring Dame Judi Dench and the great Steve Coogan, who also wrote the film. Philomena follows the true story of Philomena Lee, who after giving birth at a young age was forced to give up her child by the Catholic Church. But almost 50 years later, a jaded, cynical news reporter played by Steve Coogan does everything in his power to help her find her son. This sounds like the setup to a very bland, by-the-numbers, cliche drama, but overall the film actually sidesteps most of the cliches that happen with stories like this. It's also incredibly well acted. Judi Dench in particular just hitting it out of the park. But overall it is a little slow and a little small, so while I personally really enjoyed the film, it's not really a film that everybody is going to enjoy, nor do I feel like people are going to be talking about it for a great deal of time after its release. I am very happy about the Oscar nominations though, mostly because it'll draw more attention to what really is a quality film. Next up, Gravity. Do I even need to talk about Gravity? I mean, seriously, who hasn't seen it at this point? It's Gravity! It's thrilling, it's enthralling. It's also kind of overrated and basically just Harold and Maude meets that one scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Really, the story doesn't matter much with Gravity, and while I do think the performances are quite good, the hyperstar casting makes it kind of distracting, but the story is not why it's gotten so many Oscar nominations. It is a technical marvel, and it is the single biggest bitch slap that could possibly exist to people who are still convinced CGI has no place in modern cinema. The 3D was spectacular, the imagery is beautiful, the CGI is out of this world, and while I personally think it's overrated, it is definitely worth watching. Next up, American Hustle. Oh my god, American Hustle. The somewhat true, mostly fake story of the app scam crisis directed by the man who brought you The Fighter and Three Kings, basically shoehorning the story into the tone of Goodfellas with Christian Bale playing 90s Pacino. The film is hilarious, tense, entertaining, full of great performances. I love the hell out of it. I cannot suggest this movie enough. It's not my favorite movie of the year, but it is up there, and my god is this thing fun. And now for my own sanity, you'll be hearing about the other 5 nominees in part 2.